Fire the cannon, baby. Let's go. They were firing that cannon on opening night 8 times. It was crazy. A nice win over the Arizona Coyotes. Jody, Shelley, color analyst for the Blue Jackets broadcast, join us now. And, Jody, that opening game, there was so much emotion that night. Bring us inside the arena. Obviously, the ceremony there to honor the late Matiss Kivlenieks. What was it like being there that night?
You know what? It was exciting, and it was such an emotional night for so many reasons, right? Opening night is always fun. The fans back in the building. I was down between the benches. Matiss's family was there, so the heavy hearts, the emotion you could feel coming in all different directions, all different ways. And, of course, Elvis Merzlikins, and you could see Boone Jenner hugging the young sister of Matiss Kivlenieks. But Elvis wore the number 80 for that one game that night. And Elvis was there for the unthinkable tragedy this summer where Matiss lost his life in a freak accident. And to have the fans there, to see that emotion, to see the banner grow up, to see what the organization did, you could sense, and you were kind of wondering, where is this going to go? And they play with passion, they play with excitement, and you could really feel at the end of the game that all the emotions ended up in the right spot when they got the victory. And Elvis with the hug, he got the puck, he got the win, and he said he wanted to do it for that number, the one time he was going to wear it. So a nice tribute and an exciting way to start the season.
Heading into this season, the Blue Jackets with a new head coach behind the bench. Former assistant coach Brad Larson got the duties after John Tortorella, no longer the head coach there. I know it's early, Jody, but what kind of impact have you seen through camp, through exhibition games, and now early on that Brad Larson has brought to the Blue Jackets?
Well, Billy, it's an interesting situation because he was an assistant coach and part of this organization for almost a decade, and they interviewed him 4 times for this position. So it wasn't like he was a stranger they had to interview. They were thorough, and they wanted a guy who was going to come in here and be a little different than John Tortorella in the sense that, he was who he was. He brought great things to the organization. Torch did things this organization has never seen, but they didn't want Brad Larson to be the guy that, was in the same kind of ilk, and he's not. He's his own guy. He's thorough. He's detailed. He's taken notes for the past decade. He understands these players. He's very forward-thinking in the way he wants to defend, the way he wants to attack the neutral zone. He keeps things fresh, and he's a very honest and upfront guy. And I think those are all very refreshing things for the Blue Jackets, for any player in the National Hockey League. So I love what he's done. His coaching staff with Pascal Vincent, who's coming in as an associate coach, he's really got a nice mix there. So he's not over his head. He's not thinking, that unrealistic thoughts, but he has everyone focused and he understands the group he has. I think it's a very nice start, and it's really relative to his camp. He had a hard camp. I know Torch is famous for his camps, and everyone is, Torch's camps. But Lars did a lot of hockey, 2-on-1 with back checking, a lot of 2-on-2s, a lot of those situational plays that players get sick of quick, and he did it all season long. So it's been a good camp, and I think it's been a great reflection of what's to come.
All right, they made a couple of moves in the offseason. They bring back Jakub Voracek from the Philadelphia Flyers. How is he fitting in so far with the group?
Like he never left, DJ. Yeah. Like he never left. I mean, that's Jake Voracek. If you've ever had the privilege of being around this guy. Off the ice, he's smiling, he's including everybody, he's a passionate guy, he enjoys life, but on the ice he's a competitor. And I love talking to him about Patrick Laine and the power play, and Zach Werenski and Boone Jenner. He's got a lot of knowledge playing with Giroux, Yager, Hartnell. He's been there for a long time in Philly, and he brings that back here. A skilled guy that knows his role. He holds guys to that accountability in the locker room, if you will, whether it's what they're supposed to wear on the road or who's buying the next team dinner, all those things that sometimes get thought about nowadays in hockey. He's bringing that old school back, and I really like that, but I love his details on the power play, something that's been lacking with the Blue Jackets in the past few seasons. Just a pro that understands the game at a very, very high level, and he makes those better players around him, and he's got respect. So to answer your question, he really directs traffic out there when he's on the ice, and he does it off the ice too. So 2 important areas for this veteran guy who understands the organization.
Speaking of buying dinner, there's one dinner every year that the veterans look forward to. It is when the rookies buy dinner. And you've got a rookie there. Well, Cole Sillinger, who, by the way, I can't believe is a pro. I remember when Mike Sillinger and I were with the Islanders organization, and all of a sudden, another year-old moment right there.
Yeah.
How's Cole doing, and what do you see? I mean, look, it's always hard to read these kids, especially, you see them early on, but you know that they've got a little more than a little time to mature. What do you see in this kid so far that says pro in his game?
I'm telling you, Billy, it's remarkable. I mean, he turned 18 in May.
Yeah.
So this is a young 18-year-old kid who's come in, and, he's got the upside to be the number 2 center here in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. Who knows? Just everything he does. You watch him on the ice. You watch him off the ice. You watch him picking up pucks. You watch him interact with the players. You watch him understand in tight positions. He's got a little grease in his game. He battles on pucks. He'll make a mistake but cover up for it. Just all those things that you wonder for out of a young player. And, in camp, you can see separation. And some seasons you don't have that player. But there was separation between him and the rest of the rookies because it just seemed like he was a pro. The way he's built, the way he plays the game, the way he carries himself. I could go on and on. I played with Mike Sillinger, too. He was just in Columbus, him and his wife, Carla. They're 2 proud parents, and they should be back in this organization. Just a thrilling weekend for them and Cole. But Cole stayed even keel. He's a guy that doesn't want to have anything extra, just wants to go and play hockey. He wants to stay on the ice all day. One of these up-and-coming players of this he's born in 2003, if you want to feel really old. Born in 2003. So there you go. He's part of the new generation, and, boy, it's a great pick for the Blue Jackets.
Hey, by the way, you said Mike Sillinger thrilled to be back with the organization. He could say that with, I think it's 11 other teams in the NHL, too. So,
That's right. He's proud of that stuff.
He is very proud of that. There's always somebody else that wanted Mike Sillinger. What a phenomenal guy. And I'm sure, as an aside, not even as a side, I'm sure that Cole learned a ton from just watching his father handle the traveling, the moving, all of the different things that helped make him a great pro.
Yeah, there's no question. And with the face-offs, I asked Mike about that, and he just, he'd tell him a few tips, spent some time with him. He's got 2 older brothers that play Bemidji State. They battled each other. And of course, Mike, all those intangibles, you're right. All these players that have their sons now in the National Hockey League, they have the intangibles. That's the number one thing. So I think if you watch Cole, and he's going to be in Detroit, we're in Detroit now, tomorrow night. It's just every night's a new adventure. He did have a comment when he was watching the first game. He said he was sitting there watching game number 1 of the season, and he looked over at his friends that he was watching with, and he said, "I can't believe I'm going to play in this game in this league in a couple of days." So the marvel of it all, just to be around a young kid like that, and Mike Sillinger well, and if he has any of those characteristics, which he does, he's a wonderful person to be around.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye on Cole Sillinger for sure. Looks like there's a lot of upside in his game moving forward. I want to ask you, before I let you go, about the Kraken, because they came to visit Columbus on Saturday night. The Blue Jackets were able to find a way to win that game in overtime. But what was your impression of Seattle, seeing them up close?
I'll tell you what, I was impressed. They're big, they're fast, they play hard, and Tanev is a player that may be one of those emerging guys like we saw when Vegas picked up the players, the role players who emerged. He was all over the ice. He seemed to play every other shift. He played hard to their identity, if you will. But they're a handful. They're a team that has some of their best players on the shelf. Yanni Gord's still out. He's a player that's going to be an impact guy. But they play with kind of a free spirit, very structured, but very kind of free and energized, what you would expect from an expansion team. I was thrilled. I loved the uniforms. I liked the way they played. It was a heck of a game at Nationwide Arena. The Blue Jackets came out on top. But like I said early, big, strong, fast. That team is built to win. And I think who can make a prediction on the Kraken? Right away, it's hard to do that. But they're a fun team to see play live.
Real quick non-hockey question. This is very important, Jody. Any RV? Are you still RVing? I still.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jody, you're RVing with Jody. That was what we talk about every year. One good RV trip this summer. Give it real quick.
We went to Lake George, New York, and spent some time in that area. Hung out with Kevin Deneen, who's up there, and we had a wonderful time. It was a 10-hour trip. We kept it real short. We were going to go to Maine, but we had so much time at Lake George, we just stayed there. That's the luxury of being in a camper, because if you don't want to go anywhere else and the weather's good, you just stay there. So we had a good summer there.
All right, well, next time you want to go up to Maine, we'll just swing right through Boston, There's only 4 of us
Pick
and a
up
dog.
Billy.
Pick us up, and we'll go right up there with you. All right?
Here's what I tell people, Billy. Don't invite us because we will show up, just like Cousin Ed. So be careful.
Anytime, buddy. You can park right in the driveway. The town won't mind at all.
Yeah, I'm sure
We'll be there.
I'm sure they won't. It sounds like a segment for the future.
Yes.
RVing with Jody Shelley. So
Hey, let's do it.
We'll work on that one. Jody, thanks so much for the time today, and looking forward to seeing the Blue Jackets moving forward. Looks like a fun year maybe on the horizon.
Yeah, enjoy the season, guys. Thanks for having me on. And, yeah, the Blue Jackets will be fun to watch.